Welcome back to the X-Ray Podcast. How's it going, everyone? Uh, I just want to say welcome back to the X-Ray Podcast. We, you know, we're here now, trying to discuss a little bit of what's going on here lately. And first off, I just want to say sorry we've disappeared for a little, just for a little bit. Life brings challenges, and sometimes you got to step back, recharge, and come back sharper. But we're here, stronger than ever, ready to dig in stories that actually matter. Today, I'm going to be solo. My co host couldn't make it, but this is Robert Barboza. And today, we got two clips that says a lot about the state of our country, about the truth, about leadership, and about how common sense seems to be slipping away. The first clip I'm going to play comes from X, and it shows a man speaking out during a town hall meeting where two women were asked to undress and change clothes right there to make a point about how ridiculous it become that women being forced to share changing areas and restrooms with men who identify as women. Now, I want you to really listen to this because this isn't about hate or division. It's about reality. It's about protecting women's privacy, dignity, and safety. So I will say, let's watch it and let me know what your thoughts are about that because I just I don't know. Let's just watch it, right? Because it's insane. If I didn't have a video, you guys probably wouldn't believe me, but this did happen, in fact. So here we go. Hold on, let me just tone out the music here, and we are set to go. Be heroes. You guys became heroes. Now I'm about to show you guys how uncomfortable it is to be young girls.
Point of order.
We've asked that we use.
Oh, so wait. They're covered. You feel uncomfortable? Because that's what these young girls feel like when a boy walks into the locker room and starts unchanging in front of them. Yeah, you feel uncomfortable, right? Feel uncomfortable, huh? That's what these young girls feel like every time a young boy changes in front of them. You can look at me like that all you want. That's exactly how they feel. And you, Miss Muffy, oh, well, I don't know if I stand with girls or if I stand with my, with the. So you don't care how young girls feel? You don't care about the safety of young kids? What about what happened in Virginia with that boy that raped a young girl in a bathroom? Then got sent to another school and did it again. What are we going to do when that happens here? How are you going to look that girl in the face and say, sorry, I didn't protect you? This is Maine's capital. We should be setting an example for the rest of the state. You know what example you guys are setting? That we do not care about the young girls in this state. You guys care about politics. Oh, we can't change it because it's not law. It got changed by an executive order by Biden. Which is why we're here in the first place.
Wow. You heard that. That's raw. That's real. And it's uncomfortable. But it's the truth. We live in a time where standing up for biology is now considered controversial. That's how far gone this culture has become, And yet, when regular people like this gentleman right here at this town hall, I'm supposed in Maine, called out, they're called bigots, extremists. No, they're parents, they're brothers and husbands. They still have common sense. We got to stop pretending that denying reality is somehow virtuous. It's not. It's dangerous. And it's at the cost of who? The innocent women that didn't sign up for this person's delusion. And it is a delusion because, to be honest with you, you can't tell me that, for example, I'm going to say that I'm a female when clearly you see me, I am not a female. And I know they're saying, well, gender and biology is not the same thing. Gender is a social construct or whatever. But for millennia, for years, we knew that a man is a male and a woman is a female. That's just facts. That's just the set reality of what for years we've known. And for them to just say, hey, we're going to change it now, and we're going to change it so that way you guys have to submit to our beliefs, when they're just really, how many of them are there versus how many of us, and I know this is going to be controversial, that we're normal, right? The normal people, how many of us normal people are there compared to these people who think that have gender dysphoria, which is a mental health issue? And it's, I don't know, guys. I mean, you guys might be here watching it live, you might be watching it pre-recorded, but let us know in the comments and let me know. Like, maybe you guys think that my talking point is so controversial and it probably offends you, and if it does, I'm sorry that you feel that way. But the fact is that I can't turn blue, and I can't say I'm blue and make you believe to call me that I'm blue, because it's fugazi, it's foolishness. It doesn't make sense. And you can apply that to anything, like race. I'm a black man. Can I say that? No, right? I mean, I can say it. I can believe it. Yes. Now I'm coming back to tell you to call me a black man when clearly I am not a black man, right? That you're going to say, well, you can't race swap. Okay, well, what's the difference between changing genders? It's the same thing. Just because you feel that way, you can't make me infringe on my rights to make me say that you're a female and you're a man, and then at the same point, in the same time, allow you to change in a locker room where my daughters, my wife, my sisters, my mother are going to go change. And I didn't sign up for that. So again, you're going to say, well, that's infringing on my rights not to have the right to go change in a woman's bathroom or restroom. Well, you know what? The thing is, for millennia, that was the social norm. It's still the norm. And you guys cannot do that. And we almost lost that talking point. We're at the point where we're now fighting for some type of normacy, to fight for the norms. And but that's just a sad reality. Now let's move on to the second clip I like to share. This one again is also coming from X. It shows Nancy Pelosi getting defensive when a reporter asked her about January 6th and her decision to reject the National Guard before the riot took place. And we heard all of this of, oh, January 6th, the most evil thing that happened to our country. It was worse than 9/11. In fact, it was worse when the Democrats had the KKK, It just it's just such a lie. But yeah, let's watch it real quick. Thank you, Benny Johnson, for this clip. Here we go.
Congresswoman Pelosi, are you at all concerned that the new January 6th committee will find you liable for that day?
Okay.
Are you at all concerned about the new January 6th committee finding you liable for that day? Why did you refuse the National Guard on January 6th?
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
The American people want to know. We still have questions. Thank you. Congresswoman Pelosi.
Well, that went well. There it is. Instead of answering, she tells the reporter to shut up. This is how someone who has been one of the loudest voices blaming others for what happened that day. But when it comes to accountability, silence, deflection, and arrogance. It's the same pattern we keep seeing from our so called leaders, rulers for thee, but not for me. And the media just lets it slide, unless it fits the narrative. And, I it's crazy because people like Nancy Pelosi here. I'm just gonna pull it up. I'm just gonna pull it up. We're not gonna play the video, but I'm gonna pull it up because I just want to share something real quick. Um, so Nancy Pelosi,
All concerned that the new January 6th committee
and
will find you liable for that day?
look at her. I mean, she needs help walking. I mean, I think she's already out of public service, and as she should be, and I think she's just now, uh, I guess, just being in the spotlight. But you got her, you got Mitchell McConnell, like Cocaine Mitch. These guys need to be out, man. We shouldn't have. Uh, we should have definitely age limit and term limits on these senators and congressmen. And I just want to say that we don't need no AARP people, staying in and telling us what to do, because things change, right? I mean, unfortunately, that's the reality that as as a society we grow, we develop. And yes, I'm not saying we don't need the wisdom of the elderly to give us wisdom and direct us to the right path, but there's got to be some term limits, and I should say, because somebody being there in office for 30 plus years, that's unacceptable. They made it into a career. A public servant should be about doing something for their community, for the society. It should be something that is honorable. Like, you got honorable people. And I would like to take this moment to shout out to Nick Tran, for example. He's running in Texas and District 8. And I think that somebody like him, with the temperament and that background and his thought process, we need people like that. And I know he's down for term limits. And term limits is something that, I mean, we have it for presidents, we have it for, you know, governors, I believe. And, congressmen, senators, they should be no exception. Like, they should also have term limits. And I think that would really change at least the situation that we find ourselves in today, where these corrupt politicians start getting rich, like Nancy Pelosi. She's gotten, if many of y'all don't know, she's gotten rich from being aware of having best information of stocks, and obviously the lobbying and all that. I mean, it's just that type of stuff could be avoided if we have term limits, because now, these people that want to buy politicians are going to struggle, um, because now they got to invest on one guy and then another guy and then another guy. And then every time someone comes, the people are the ones that are electing these people, right? So it's going to make it hard, because we're going to be paying attention every 2 years what this politician is doing and hold them accountable. But right now, the Democrats, and I'm going to say some Republicans too, but that are established, like Mitchell McConnell, like Cocaine Mitch, as the nickname was given to him. Cocaine Mitch, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and I can name a bunch of them, like Pocahontas. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But like, for example, Bernie Sanders, another person. Like, this dude never held a private job, so how is he a millionaire? I mean, I just don't get it. The math, it doesn't math. And I just think that the term limits is very something that we should all be trying to push for. because again, these people, they're just going into public service and then coming out rich, and that shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't. But listen, folks, these clips aren't just random moments, they're snapshots of what happens when the truth gets buried, when people stop asking questions, and when the powerful stop being accountable. And that's exactly why the X Ray podcast exists, to question, to expose, and to talk about what others won't. If you like what we're doing, hey, just make sure to check out our xraypodcast.com. You can find content, episodes, and clips. Even contact us directly if you have tips, stories, or you just want to share your thoughts. And let me pull up the screen right now. Just so you guys can see the website. We're still working on it. I mean, again, we're not um we're not a big channel, but we're getting there. If um again, this all helps to support us, to keep the lights on, like my co-host Julio says. And we would like if you guys check it out. You can click on this icon right here, and you take it to our Instagram, our Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, X, and you can shop. Click on the shop. We got a little bit of merch. We're trying to. I know we've been taking a while on this, but we're trying to update our merch, as best we can. It's again kind of hard to juggle a bunch of stuff, but we're pushing through it. Here you go to the episodes, you can see us when we had Edgar Fuentes, Alex Rosen, Nick Tran. My boy Julio went with Nick Tran on a shooting. Practice some shooting range. And we got JJ Carroll, who is a very, very inspirational person. um, it tells us what we're about here, and where you can contact us right here. Whatever you come here, go straight to our email, and we'll be able to come back. And if you had questions or concerns or comments, or maybe you want to give us some tips, or maybe you want to, hey, come into the show. We welcome anybody here. And you can click on these icons, and you'll have episodes of our content. And just go X-Ray. There's no it's just xraypodcast.com. In fact, I'll put it into the comment section, so that way you guys can take a look at it. xraypodcast.com. All right, here we go. And so really, that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. I know it's a short 20-30 minute episode, but I really wanted to thank everyone. And again, when you scroll on this, and it's probably not going to be live, I'm sorry I started late. Again, I decided to do it solo. Julio's the tech guy. He knows how to do all this stuff, and I'm learning as I'm going. So be patient with me. But I wanted to thank every one of you guys for just even looking at the video for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, or the whole duration. That means a lot. And again, if you guys get on these comments, we slowly get into it, because it is overwhelming, especially when you're juggling other things. This is not our full career yet, but it is a lot. But we're pushing through it, and I feel that thanks to you guys, we are in a position where we're on that borderline. And soon we'll be able to reach out to people like Glenn Beck. Shout out to Glenn Beck. He's doing great things. I like that whole clip that he talked about how Kash Patel, the FBI, contacted him for something that he did. Uh, and that is just amazing to me because what a better person for the FBI to be like, can you explain to us what you found? You know what I mean? It's like perfect man, the perfect man. And like Glenn Beck says, hey, you know, uh, they're not playing. So if you gave money to Antifa, watch your back because this FBI is not playing. And man, I just, again, that is awesome because something that I would like to highlight, guys, is that Antifa, if you guys remember back in 2019, 2018, 2018, if you went to a website, and I believe I talked this with Dinesh D'Souza. Shout out to Dinesh. I had called him on his podcast, and he looked it up himself, and this was back in about 2019, I think I want to say. But yeah, if you go to well, here I'm just going to show you, but back in 2018, if you went to the search link and you were to type antifa.com, let me see if it pops up. Okay, it takes you to this. You see this, right? This is the Wikipedia to Joe Biden's administration. That's what happens now. But in 2018, when you did antifa.com, it would take you to Joe Biden's campaign. Okay. And then 2020, something happened. The Democrats seem to have found a way, found some voters that were never there and made a record history. And Joe Biden had no crowds on his, so much that they had to Photoshop some. And that's not me just making an opinion. That's what really happened. And I'm old enough to remember that very well, But anyways, so you would go to antifa.com when he became a president, and it would go to his White House page. Now that he's no longer president and Donald J. Trump is the president, you go to antifa.com, which was the same page. If you go to Joe Biden's campaign, it takes you to this same Wikipedia, and it takes you to the same. So again, this is nuts. I'm not making this up, and I I invite you to go antifa.com, and it takes you to Joe Biden's, it would used to take you to Joe Biden's campaign, and then Joe Biden's White House, and now Joe Biden's Wikipedia about his cabinet. So uh, that's, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm grasping on straws here, but to me, there's a connection between Joe Biden's campaign and Antifa. And remember, they try to say, well, it's not an organization. It doesn't have leaders and this and that. But I mean, do we know that? I mean, what if Joe Biden is? I mean, again, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, and we don't know. I mean, because we're not calling the evil for what it is, and now that we are calling it for what it is, and now that we are investigating, and then we got to follow the money, I bet you it'll lead us to an organization, and now we'll know if who's the leader and who's the foot soldiers, and I think we're going in a right direction, and I know a lot of people are so hyper focused on what's really happened with Israel and uh, Gaza. And honestly, look, guys, if you asked me last year, and Kawa Malay can verify this because we had him in the show, and he basically was telling me what he knew for years and stuff that Candace Owens talks and Tucker Carlson talks about and Nick Fuentes talks about. And now that we see that Charlie Kirk was probably getting close to seeing it that way. But I again, this is all hearsay. But I will say this: I am for Israel to have its own country, but I'm also for Palestine to have its own country. And if Israel wants to talk the walk, I'm sorry, then I think that Israel should give some portion of its southern part of its country. And don't call it a two-state country, just call them two countries. I honestly think that if you made Israel into Israel, Palestine as into Palestine, it may not fix the the concerns or the complaints from the Free Palestine movement, but it's a start. It's a compromise, and um, then the pro-Israel people are going to come at me and say, "Well, Robert, what's going to stop Hamas to infiltrate again that country Palestine?" But again, that's what the UN is there for. And I would say that the UN should make Palestine into a place where the UN can put bases around the country's borders and have the UN when I mean UN, I don't mean the organization, but have like Germany, have all these countries pick a spot in this new Palestine to protect the borders and regulate. That way the Palestinians will feel safe that is not because remember, they think that the Israelites are the ones attacking them. And there's a big group of conspiracy out there that shows a lot of evidence that Israel does do that. They always fudge it. And the fact that that's even, in my opinion, should be very well at least taken into some kind of consideration. I think this would ease the Palestinian people's pro-Palestinian movement some comfort, knowing that it's not Israel protecting or overseeing what comes in through this new Palestine, but it would be the UN nations, and it would be different ones. Now you're going to say, well, some nations are more corrupt than others, Robert. But that's the thing, though. It's not. It's like us locking our doors at a house, right? It needs to be there to deter the a good person from coming in, because if I left my door wide open, there would be some people that are good that are tempted to come inside the house and curiosity or for whatever reason, right? But you still have a door, you close it and lock it, right? Because you're deterring those, at least that, because a criminal could kick the door down, the criminal could find a window, he's going to get in if he wants to get in. Hence why the Democrats probably saying, well, that argument goes to the wall for our southern wall. But again, we need that, just like we need that door, we need that border. Well, my my opinion on this is that I think that's something that Israel could do to show that I really do care about peace, and I do care about living in harmony with the Muslim community, because they're the only Jewish country out there. And now, whether they're really descendants of the Hebrews, that's another topic. But at this point, they conquered Israel. It's their land. You're going to say colonizer, but everybody was doing it, and they did it. And the world, no one did anything about it. They're there already. It's theirs. It's just like America. We conquered it, right? How ethical or unethical you might, whatever, but I'm benefiting from this. Like, so when we had Christopher the Columbus Day holiday, there's people that are upset. I'm celebrating it because hey, if it wasn't for Columbus, if history didn't roll out the way it did, I wouldn't be here. I would be, who knows where we would have been. We probably still would have been slaves in Mexico, for the Spaniards. I don't know. But the point is, back to my point, is that, we're hyper focused on Israel and what's going on in it, and as we should. But I guess because I'm a nationalist and I know everybody wants to make that sound like it's a bad thing. No, I care about my country, my nationality, which is here, the USA. Uh, I really believe that we should focus more on what benefits us. And yeah, a peace in the Middle East would benefit us. And biblically, I have my own reservations of what all that really means. But I think that as of right now, we need to get back to normal. At least to a point where we're addressing issues honestly and bluntly, because sometimes me telling a friend that, hey, you have a drinking problem, right? It might seem mean, cruel, but it's the truth. And it's the only way to get that person the help he needs. That's with tying it back to the transgender movement. And I know I'm going to get flack out of this, but those people are going through, the real people, because some people get into a social contagion and they think, oh, because I feel this way, then maybe, and everybody's like, yeah, you're transgender, and they get lost and confused, which is normal, but that's not right. This is what I'm trying to say. There's people out there that are really have this dysphoria, gender dysphoria, which it is a mental crisis. Can you imagine not thinking you're not what you are, and us accepting it as like it's normal or it's okay. Um, it's okay that you'll survive. You're just going to have a hard time adjusting to the community, right? And especially, uh, I mean, we can be sympathetic and we can be like, man, okay, well, he thinks he's a she, and not laugh about that person, but don't pity that person either. We all have problems in our mental sanity, but at the same time we can't accept, it's like a schizophrenic. We don't make fun of a schizophrenic who's talking to an imaginary person, right? We don't do that, right? I mean, of course there's some people out there that do that, but for us rational individuals that like to think that we are at least some form of civilized, right? We're not going to outright make fun of that person, but we're not going to shun him, or we're not going to do that. We're just going to acknowledge that that person has a deficiency, I guess we'll call it, because it really is, and address it as proper. If that person is in the streets alone talking to Herbert the imaginary man, guess what? I'm looking around. No family members around. Why is he alone right here? He could be walking the streets. And of course, approach him with caution, because schizophrenics are actually very aggressive, right? But first thing I would do is call the authorities. Hey, I believe we got a guy with mental issues here alone in the streets, right? Now, with that being said, I'm not saying that we should do that to transgender people, that, oh my God, they're great, but at least address it to them. Hey, you, I'm so sorry you feel that way, but you're not a woman and you can never be a woman. And you need help, and um, but at the same time, it gets to the point, well, is he really hurting somebody if he wants to be that way? Maybe not me directly, but he might hurt someone in the future, right? There might be, I could tell you a story that happened. And if I bring it up, a lot of the people that are around me know about the story. But this gentleman went out dancing in a bar, and he really hit it off with this woman, let's just say, right? And he was kissing her and everything, and one thing led to another, and he went out and decided to take her to the truck, in the parking lot and then found out it was a man, and he beat the living crap out of that dude because it wasn't a chick, it was a dude. And that those are the consequences, because the reality is you're trying to be something that you're not. And what happened to that saying that you are perfect the way you are? They used to say that, which again, that in itself, in my Christian beliefs, is the wrong thing to say, because we're not perfect the way we are. We're all we all need Jesus. We all need Yeshua, because we're all evil inside. And but anyways, that's another topic, and it's already 35 minutes in. I'm rambling on, but my point is we need to get back into a position where we're not putting our women, our mothers, our sisters, our daughters, our nieces in a same room with a grown man changing in front of them. And some of them will go as far as they don't even have the sex change, and they're just waving all that stuff in front of them. Some of them, you're telling me that some of them aren't pretending, and they might be out there, it's uncomfortable. Just like it was kind of uncomfortable seeing those women change, and we just need to get back. And that's it, guys. Thank you for joining in. And if you guys see this in recording and whatnot, comment down below. Let us know. What maybe topics you want us to talk about, and hit us up. Go check our webpage. Help support. And if you're in the 8th district in Texas, Montgomery County, basically some parts of Conroe, don't forget to vote or look up for my buddy Nick Tran. Look him up. I will, if you follow us here on Facebook, on TikTok, or even YouTube, X, we always post about him. So y'all look out for him, and see you to the next one, guys. All right.